Good evening, everyone. The U.S. president delivered what history may remember as one of the most consequential speeches of his time in office late tonight.
Here, kings and dictators do not rule, the people do.
In an 11-minute address to Americans from the Oval Office, Joe Biden detailed his reasons for not seeking a second mandate and saying this about the woman now in the race for his job, Kamala Harris.
She's experienced, she's tough, she's capable. She's been an incredible partner to me and a leader for our country. Now the choice is up to you, the American people.
Omar, this is a speech that the president did not want to give. Powerful, speaking from the heart about his painful, emotional decision to walk away from a second term. After a 50-year political career, tonight is bittersweet. He told Americans he ended his campaign for the sake of the country. Here's what he said.
Nothing can come in the way of saving our democracy. That includes personal ambition. So I've decided the best way forward is to pass the torch to a new generation. It's the best way to unite our nation.
Endorsing Vice President Kamala Harris has breathed new life into the Democratic campaign. If she can win against Donald Trump, she'll continue Biden's vision for America. The president faced pressure from his own party to drop out after that disastrous debate, concerns about his age, polls showing him losing badly to Trump. The White House insists that Biden's exit is not health-related. Tonight, he said America is at an inflection point, asking, does honesty, decency still matter? And telling voters it's up to them to save democracy. It's in their hands. Putting his own political ambition aside, he will campaign to help get Harris elected.
And Kamala Harris was the target of Donald Trump's attacks at his first rally since Joe Biden quit.
She is a radical left lunatic who will destroy our country. If she ever gets the chance to get into office, we're not going to let that happen.
Trump spoke to supporters in North Carolina at an indoor venue. His campaign staff revealing today there will be no more outdoor rallies after that assassination attempt nearly 2 weeks ago. Today, new video emerged from that shooting, people screaming and running for cover. The images coming to light as the U.S. FBI chief revealed the shooter fired 8 rounds and revealed this piece of evidence from the shooter's laptop.
On July 6th, he did a Google search for, quote, how far away was Oswald from Kennedy?
Lee Harvey Oswald was the assassin who shot and killed John F. Kennedy in Dallas in 1960. Donald Trump will meet the Israeli Prime Minister in Florida at the end of the week. But today, Benjamin Netanyahu delivered a defiant speech to a joint session of Congress in Washington. CTV's Judy Trin on what he said and the clashes outside the Capitol.
Outside the Capitol building, protesters burned the likeness of Benjamin Netanyahu and waved signs labeling him a war criminal. In his address to a joint meeting of Congress, the Israeli Prime Minister cast off blame and pointed to Iran, enabler of Hamas, as the common enemy.
Our enemies are your enemies. Our fight is your fight. Victory will be your victory.
Amid the standing ovations, there were seats left empty by dozens of boycotting Democratic lawmakers.
He has put his own personal interests ahead of the interests of the people of his country, and what he has done in Gaza is unspeakable.
According to the Gaza Health Ministry, more than 39,000 people have died in the 9 months since Hamas attacked Israel. 2 million others continue to be terrorized by airstrikes, stalked by starvation and disease.
Bring them home!
Some American families of Hamas hostages are frustrated Netanyahu is presenting to politicians instead of negotiating for a ceasefire. There was no conciliatory tone in Netanyahu's speech, but there was an ask for more military support.
Give us the tools faster, and we'll finish the job faster.
Here at home, gusty winds have pushed flames to Jasper tonight, faster than anticipated. And even first responders have now been ordered out. This is the apocalyptic scene just outside the gates of Jasper National Park this evening. Heavy smoke blanketing the area. The fires in the west also prompting major warnings. Most of Alberta was under an air quality advisory this morning, along with northern Saskatchewan, parts of the Northwest Territories, and BC. CTV's BC Bureau Chief Andrew Johnson on the fire threat.
Twin infernos are moving in on the eerily empty community of Jasper, where protecting homes is top priority.
They're removing flammables and combustibles. They're mowing out some of the brushing areas. They're going house by house, much like our RCMP members did yesterday when they went door knocking.
Fire crews have also set up sprinkler systems in neighborhoods at risk. The national park confirmed today the larger fire to the south has reached the town. Driven by strong wind, some structures outside of town had already been damaged.
Due to the burning conditions, the heavy smoke, and the aggressive fire behavior yesterday, it was not safe for firefighters or aircraft to get to those structures.
Close to 25,000 people were ordered to leave Jasper. The only way out was through BC, where tiny communities were overwhelmed with evacuees. Reception centers have now been set up in Grand Prairie, Edmonton, and Calgary.
I'm not sure how to describe it yet. I think I'm still processing it. I know our children are still processing this. They're talking about it every single day, saying, you know what, that was pretty scary.
In BC, we are seeing new images today of the monster fire burning in the Fraser Canyon. It's close to 200 square kilometers in size, one of more than 400 burning in BC.
Tens of thousands of lightning strikes and the hot, dry weather and winds over the past week have led to significant fire growth in many areas of the province.
We are taking a closer look tonight at an Ontario company now at the center of an international criminal investigation that foreign officials say stole more than $2 billion US from hundreds of thousands of people.
Crime crafted by a Canadian-based company, carried out across the world.
It's like whack-a-mole. Every time you find one, you close it down, another one pops up.
Metaverse Foreign Exchange, also known as MTFE, pitched itself as a reputable trading platform. Federally incorporated in Ontario with a Canadian director, it was even registered with Canada's money laundering watchdog, FinTrack. Now a joint investigation by the Investigative Journalism Foundation and CTV National News reveals that names associated with MTFE are part of a network of dozens of Canadian shell companies believed to be peddling cryptocurrency investment schemes. Marketed heavily to investors in Sri Lanka and Bangladesh, hundreds of thousands of people in those countries invested their money using MTFE's online app. In August 2023, the Canadian company's platform went offline, leaving clients in the dark. An estimate of more than $2 billion vanished.
I don't think people expect something like that to happen in a country like Canada.
In Bangladesh, one corporate lawyer has been following the money trail.
I think the target market for these products are the more vulnerable population.
So we decided to follow the trail and pay Unit 500 a visit. Hi, how are you? Good. My name's Adrian Gabriel. I'm with CTV National News.
Inside, we found a shared office space. A manager whose identity we're protecting alleges that there's a list of criminal companies using this location as their business address.
I have 650 legitimate clients here. Okay? 90% of them are good, legitimate businesses. There's 10% of that group that are not, but we can't keep track of the people that are using it.
In Sri Lanka, a criminal investigation has been opened. Court records show 3 people have been arrested for money laundering, and that MTFE's parent company in Canada allegedly pocketed 30 to 40% of all service fees. FinTrack has suspended Metaverse's registration, though the director of Canada's Money Service Business Association believes the culprits behind this apparent made-in-Canada scam may have vanished, with far more than the $2 billion being reported.
Times that by 10. There's way more than just Metaverse. I guarantee you this group that you've discovered is still operating, just differently.
From the Bank of Canada today, it cut rates again and signaled that Canadians can reasonably expect more reductions. But there was also a warning.
For the second time in less than 2 months, the Bank of Canada has cut interest rates, giving Canadians more purchasing power.
We are increasingly confident that the ingredients are now in place to bring inflation back to the 2% target.
That confidence prompted the central bank to decrease its policy interest rate from 4.75 to 4.5%, a level not seen since June 2023. And if inflation continues to ease, Macklem says more cuts will come.
It is reasonable to expect further cuts but the timing is going to depend on incoming data.
One of the biggest factors holding up inflation is shelter costs, as mortgage interest rates and rents remain high. Realtors like Paul Chan say that pressure has kept many buyers and sellers on the sidelines, waiting for rates to drop.
The first rate cut had a little bit of an impact, but now that we've got a second one, I think consumers will definitely gain that confidence.
As borrowing money gets cheaper, developers will have less interest to pay as they build more homes to meet the rising demand from Canadians who will now have more financial flexibility to buy in.
You're going to see builders being a little bit more busier, and this will also help with the resale and some clients that need to refinance their home or they want to become first-time investors.
Private sector economists say this is just the start of the bank's easing cycle. They are expecting at least 2 more cuts this year.
I think there's a chance that they don't pause, that they keep cutting into 2025 and, really for interest rates to normalize to around 3% during the second half of next year.
The Olympic Committee has sent home an analyst and an assistant coach with Canada Soccer after accusations a drone was used to record the women's soccer team from New Zealand. The spying allegation so embarrassing, even Canada's Minister of Sport weighed in, writing that the actions of those involved do not reflect Canada's values or the values of sport. Are set to face off.
A major controversy for Canadian women's soccer heading into the Summer Games.
FIFA, I believe, indicated earlier today that they have begun a disciplinary proceeding in relation to the 3 individuals.
Team analyst Joseph Lombardi and assistant coach Jasmine Mander have been sent home. Head coach Bev Priestman has apologized and removed herself from tomorrow's opening match against New Zealand. Canada Soccer will launch its own independent external review after reports of drones flying over 2 separate New Zealand team practices.
New Zealand Football has registered a complaint to FIFA and has in fact asked that no points be awarded to Canada in the event that Canada were to win.
Soccer journalist John Molinaro expects a thorough investigation.
There were financial sanctions or sporting penalties against Canada. But I don't think we've heard or seen the last of this.
As the defending gold medal champion in women's soccer, Canada enters this tournament as a signature team, a team that was already destined to receive a lot of media attention. Former professional soccer player Costa Ellis says the Canadian players must find a way to block this out and focus on their opening match.
And hopefully they'll get through it, but it doesn't make them feel good walking on a pitch, to compete.
This is the second Canadian soccer team to be involved in a drone incident. Back in 2021 in Toronto, Honduras, preparing to play Canada, stopped a men's World Cup qualifier practice after seeing a drone above the field.
Controversy overshadowed today's announcement of Canada's flag bearers at the Paris Games. Canadian champions Maud Charon, a weightlifter, and sprinter Andre de Grasse will lead the team on Friday in the parade down the Seine.
This is going to be a big memory for me and, for my family to watch this and just to be a part of it.
I thought they made a mistake. I was not supposed to do the opening ceremony. And now, I'm doing it and I'm leading it. It's such a great honor. I don't know enough words in English to express how I feel.
At least 18 people are dead after a crash during takeoff in Nepal. Officials say the pilot is the only survivor after a plane skidded off the runway at the international airport in Kathmandu and caught fire. Police say all those on board were employees of the airline. The plane was heading to Nepal's second most populous city, Pokhara, for maintenance. Nepal is known to be one of the riskiest places to fly because of its mountainous terrain and sudden weather changes. 2 fishermen off the coast of New Hampshire got the surprise of a lifetime when a humpback capsized their boat. The entire ordeal caught on camera.
I see the head of the whale and the mouth is open and it comes straight up and then as it goes horizontal, the mouth closes and the whale goes directly on the engine.
This is the moment the animal came out of the water, crashing into the boat. The terrifying moment captured by 2 teenagers in a nearby boat. One person was thrown into the water, another jumped in. Luckily, no one was seriously injured. A well-known public art display that adorned a square for more than half a century in Atlantic Canada is being brought back to life.
Sprayed with steam.
brushed with tiny touches. Delicate work on a more than 1,300 kilogram limestone sculpture of two beavers that for more than 60 years sat in the heart of Fredericton.
There was a lot of just weather damage in particular and a lot of lichen.
Cracks discovered prompted the city to move the beavers into storage at the start of a revitalization project 8 years ago. The goal is to display them again indoors. Carved by Acadian artist Claude Roussel, this was once an 80th birthday gift to Lord Beaverbrook, the New Brunswick-born businessman who served in Winston Churchill's War Cabinet and built Fredericton's Beaverbrook Art Gallery.
I think many people that grew up in Fredericton and also those who visited Fredericton over the years have seen them, had their photo taken with them, climbed on top of them.
The beavers are being cleaned, picked, scrubbed, and massaged. The sculpture is art, and so is restoring it.
When I clean something, it gets cleaned and repaired and whatever else, and then everybody just all of a sudden notices the object and not that I've been there.